Hey guys, welcome to another quick tutorial. This time we're looking at the Atari 5200 cartridge, and I'll show you how to take one of these apart. Some of you might already know how this is done, but you know, there will be people who don't know, and this way hopefully you'll be a little bit more confident taking one of these apart. It's really not that difficult, but you're going to need two things. Standard Phillips screwdriver, and of course you're also going to need some tweezers. There's some springs and so on inside, and it's easier to use the tweezer for that. So the first thing you want to do is take out the screw on the back, and on the Atari 5200 that screw is easily accessible, so there's no problem in that. And you'll notice that there's a little wiggle room here now. You can kind of bend these a little apart, but you're not going to get the cartridge off. In fact, there are four tabs, if you want, that are holding the sides together. So what you need to do is kind of push down on the bottom here and then lift that one up and out, and then try to do one side only. Let's see if I can show you here. I'll just take it apart, and then again push in on the bottom piece so that you can lift the top piece off, and you can see here how those pegs are aligned along the sides. So that's what you need to do. It's a little tricky the first time you do it, and as you saw when I did it, it can still be kind of violent when you do it later on, so just be a little careful. But anyways, we've got this piece off now, and we can look at the inside. And the inside isn't that difficult. There's a little peg at the back here, so you just pull that backwards, which will release the cartridge. And this is why having the tweezers is a little helpful, because you can kind of get into that where your fingers and fingernails might not be able to reach. So there's that. And then this piece here you can just punch out like that, and then this further separates into two pieces, and then you got the spring right there. So at this point you can then clean this thoroughly. Just rinse it off. Be careful with the labels though, because you don't want to get water on the actual label, because you'll get water damage that way. But you can definitely clean the inside, clean the sides here a lot easier now, and just be a little careful on the front. As for the other pieces here, you can just throw that in hot soapy water and clean it that way. And of course for this, you just want to go ahead with a Q-tip with isopropyl alcohol to clean that off. And of course you can also clean the contacts at this point if you want it. If you do, I always recommend using 1200 grit sandpaper, and just very gently, take the top grime if you want, or any rust or residue on top of the pins here, just clean that off on both sides. And you don't want to use too much force, because you don't want to take the contacts off. And of course, since you now sanded it, there's going to be some dust and residue, so just take that off with Q-tip and isopropyl alcohol, and you're good to go. So since I did that, I'm just going to do a quick cleaning before I put it back together again. So just do a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, just rub that on here, and you can see how that is just taking the grime off and the dust off. And then you just dry it off with the other end of the Q-tip. And then we do the same on the other side. There we go. And just dry that off as well. And with that done, we can put it back together again. So we're going to start with the, I call it the bottom piece, it's actually the top piece, but when you take it apart, that is going to be the piece that you're going to keep down. So put that down. Then you take the little cartridge slot here, and you can see how it's got a little opening here, and that's where this goes. So you just fill out that last piece of wall, and you want to put the piece that you just put in, the little swing here if you like, put that towards the bottom and just align it so that it's fitting at the top here. Let's see, there we go. And then there we go. Now with that in place, we can take the spring and let's see if I can show you here a little easier. You can see that it has a little groove right there, and you want 1 foot of the spring to go into each side of that groove, and then just push it down on that little peg right there. And that is now going to be pushing in and out on that little carriage holder, or whatever you want to call that. Then you take the actual game itself. You can see it has a cutout here and no cutout here. The cutout piece, that's going to go down. So you just, let's see if I can show this here. You just take the pins and put it into the opening right here, and then you just align the hole with the peg, and then just push it down. And that is now in its place. Then you take the top, align that with the bottom, just like there, and then you just push that down until you get the perfect fit right there, and finish off with a screw. And there you have it. That's how you take a 5200 cartridge apart. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.